Hi everyone, my name is Judy Faida Manoj, better known as JF. I am a wife, a mother, a podcaster, a business professional, a medic. I wear many hats. Today, I'm here to discuss marriage and mental health. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Daniel Gashanja, a father, a husband to one wife. Aside from that, I'm an addictions counselor, a recovery coach, and seated here today, we are sharing on marriage, spirituality, and mental health. Stay tuned.
Hello everyone, my name is Reverend Gregory Kibanguli, a church minister for many years, but also a health professional in diverse areas of practice, beginning with occupational therapy, and currently practicing counseling psychology, doing a lot of mental health work, counseling people and coaching and mentoring. I'm married to one wife with grown-up children and a couple of grandchildren.
We all have one wife.
Yes.
Yeah. I hope so. Yeah. I'm Dr. Margaret Makanyengo. I'm a consultant psychiatrist, mental health specialist, retired but not tired. I've worked for so many years with youth, children, adolescents. I'm also a reverend and a lecturer, a mother, a grandmother, a counselor, name it. You're welcome today.
To start, I would say your marriage is sustainable. What is the challenge in regards to your marriage is that you and your wife have not opened up communication. Because see, in marriage, you are actually bound to take care of your wife. There's 3 P's that a husband should do. It's providing, it's professing love to your wife, and it's providing, professing, and protection. So the challenge is that the communication lines between you and your wife are not open, and that is why you find that there is conflict. Because, where do you expect your wife to get money to take care of herself? Look at me. I have to look good. I have to eat well. I don't want to be sweating in the matatu. I have to use an Uber. I'm gonna take your money. Yeah.
This providing bit. I would like to take a scenario where a girl from a wealthy family falls in love with a young guy who's maybe disabled in one way or the other. And if I look at that scenario, the providing bit can be a bit tricky. But in that case scenario that we have at hand, there are many issues surrounding this issue of marriage and the safety and finances. Mm-hmm. Because the context is really broad in terms of we have to look at where both the parties are coming from. What are the issues behind this issue that is coming up, that if my wife takes my money, I have an issue with it, mm-hmm. or I'm feeling a bit strangled, or I feel a bit uncomfortable. And as you said correctly, communication is one of the factors. But also when it comes to mental health, what are some of the things that this man is going through? What are some of the things that he is experiencing in his own life? And also from the side of the wife. Why does the wife feel entitled to take anything that belongs to the husband without any question, without any communication, or without any prior notice? Yes.
It seems like this couple began on a shaky foundation. And we are told, if the foundations are destroyed, what shall the righteous do? In other words, when we say, when a man and a woman get together and they become a couple, they become one. Mm-hmm. That means her money becomes my money, mm-hmm. and my money becomes her money, and vice versa.
But in African culture, that is a myth.
Yes, it is a myth. We are talking about the foundations. And there is only one true foundation, as established by God, that the two shall become one. So if we want to save our marriages, we must make reference to the foundational pillar established by the one who instituted the institution of marriage. So I would say this couple, it seems like they began on a wrong foundation. That they possibly were not guided or educated on some of the key issues that are necessary to build a strong marriage, including finances, parenting, how many, like now, I have dealt with the couples that, one particular partner wants 2 children and the other partner wants only 1, and that becomes the basis for a fight, all right? So I would say this couple lacked, right from the beginning, education or knowledge or awareness about some of the key ingredients that are required to make a marriage work. And I would say that marriage can be, redeemed, yeah, if they go through counseling, okay? That they can be guided. Because in my view, money should never be the thing that makes a husband go into depression. Because money is just a tool. It's a tool which is intended to help us. And that's why I want to emphasize to our listeners, money in marriage is not supposed to be the reason for fighting. It's supposed to help us become a better family, educate our children, take them to good schools, help us, live in better shelter, but never the source of conflict. The other thing that I would like to say, and I'm sure that Tari can pick it from there, again, the way we have been socialized, and this discussion about, men suffering from mental health issues, I think it is about perceptions and the world views, yeah? That what people believe in, yeah? For example, in many cultures, African cultures, men are not supposed to talk about their problems, which is wrong in fact. And no wonder there are programs, where people are being taught to be man. You don't have to be taught to be man. You're already a man. What you need to be taught is that healthy living requires that I share my feelings with you and you share my feelings and we support each other. That's the way it's supposed to be in marriage. But if we lack that kind of foundation and we are not exposed to this kind of knowledge, then you are likely to get that kind of a situation that we are looking at. Issues about money.
Reverend, I agree with you. Foundation for the couple is extremely important in even promoting communication even before they get married, to know how are they going to deal with these different issues. Now, in my experience when I've handled couples, there are situations where you find the mother-in-law, the mother of the woman, advises her, when you go to that home, make sure you... It's true.
That's true.
And the couples are used, especially the ladies' parents, unfortunately. They misadvise the girl to go and exploit the man as much as possible so that they're earning their own money, but they want to use the man's money, and that man will go to pay the fees for the lady's family, the lady's children, the houses for... I've seen it. And no wonder our men are getting depressed. I'm not saying I'm supporting, but there are a lot of issues concerning
I
this.
agree, and I tend to disagree also at some point. And I think I'll push it first to Rev. So whose responsibility then is it to ensure that marriages are thriving? For me, I'm quite lucky that I had a mother who was very brilliant in that. May her soul rest in peace. But she taught us exactly what is expected of us in marriage, and whenever we would go back, if there is a challenge, If I'm wrong, she didn't have a question about mentioning to me that you're wrong on this. And if it's my husband, she didn't also mince her words. She would say it was him. But then I realized that the more I speak to my friends would always be like, oh, JF, you're lucky because your mother is like that. They did not have or do not have families that prepared them for marriage. Remember, I'm talking about couples who got married in church. So the family didn't prepare. The church also didn't prepare. So whose responsibility is it?
And I must step in and say, because you have mentioned church, I can tell you for a fact that marrying in church is no guarantee that you have been given adequate preparation. You know, those of us who are Christians avoid discussing certain sensitive issues like sex and things like those. What we are saying, even when you marry in church, there are those parameters, there are those ingredients, there are those foundational issues that a couple is supposed to be taken through as they prepare to get married. And I want to say it is unfortunate it has not been happening. Thankfully, there are churches now that have very comprehensive pre-marriage counseling programs, some of them even 6 months and above. Previously, if I may use my own example, when I was getting married 42 years ago, I never got any pre-marriage counseling. In fact, I went to this pastor, very nice mzee, and he only wanted to know my name and my age and my wife's name and our parents, and that was it. Let's meet on the day of the wedding. So we started our marriage on, what I would call total ignorance. What helped us is that we were educated people. We read books, but unfortunately, many of those books we read were books written in the West. But they helped us. And so what I'm saying is that we need to prepare, because that preparation will help prevent some of the mental health issues we are talking about here. That a man, instead of seeing his wife as taking out the money, could ask the wife, can we sit down and agree on how we want to go about this, and not even take offense? Because as long as the wife is not taking the money to some funny places, if the money is being used even to support our own family, it is not bad. But it needs to be done in the open. That's why communication is key. And we train people about the importance of communication in marriage. It's one of the key things that we cover when we are doing pre-marriage counseling.
And it therefore needs communication, budgeting.
Yes.
And there are some couples I know who are doing quite well. They actually budget every end of the month. They say, okay, this is how much we have, the wife and the father, and they put it down and prioritize them, the activities, and then what they're going to save, and it goes well. So that's something we should encourage couples to do, I guess.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I think even in our case, because these people are already in marriage, the man is already in marriage. There's also this context of blaming, and now me saying that I'm getting all these mental issues because of my wife, because she's taking away my money. And as Rev rightly put it, money should be used as a tool. And I think even for this man, it should be important for him to seek counseling first as an individual.
Yeah.
So that he can be able to even know whether it's his communication skills that are poor,
Yes.
whether it's baggage from the past that is affecting his marriage, and even before bringing the wife on board.
I agree with Daniel. Actually, for this couple, for you, I would urge you that you come over so that we take thorough history, to find out, is there a pre-existing mental health problem? Many marriages are in problems because somebody has a mental health issue. And maybe that's the time it's manifesting, but it was there before. Because why was he not able to sit with his sweetheart, or why were you not able to sit with your sweetheart and actually deliberate on these issues? So, but if they could come for interview assessment, we are able to pick where the problems are, and that's what we do in marital counseling. And we are able to tackle them one by one. We are able to empower the couples, you know, on how to solve their issues, and then we're able to follow them up.
Right. And I'd like to add, one of the major causes of mental health problems that is being recognized worldwide, and a lot of research is going into this, is having the wrong beliefs about life. In fact, if you want to be technical, we talk about wrong worldviews, wrong assumptions about life. For example, in this particular case we are talking about, maybe this man is viewing his wife's action as an affront to his manhood, his security, you know, his sense of significance as a man. Now that kind of thinking, we actually call it irrational. It is thinking that is not healthy. Because what makes me a man is not how much I control the money that we have in the family. What makes me a man is that I'm a man. And I was born a man. And I don't need anything else to confirm that I am a man. Yeah. Doesn't everybody know that I'm a man? Including my children. But when I begin to think that if my wife does something contrary to what I expect, then I start going down and experiencing depression, then it means my sense of worth, my sense of significance as a man is based on something else outside of who God has made me to be. And that guy will agree with me that that is one of the key areas where a lot of research is going into, the role of wrong beliefs in mental health issues. Okay? If I think having a big salary is what makes me significant and secure, then I'm on the wrong footing. Because my security is not based on money. It is based on the fact that God created me in His own image. And I don't need anything to be added or subtracted.
That's very true. Actually, I've handled men who there's a problem. Their wives are earning more than them, and they are so insecure. They feel belittled. They don't have a say. They're you know. But the minute now the tables turn around, you find they change. So you see, that is wrong. Money should not be the determining factor on whether you are yourself.
So men should not be intimidated with a woman being financially stronger than them.
In fact, I would be quick to say, if my wife is doing very well financially, I would say praise the Lord. Because it is beneficial to the family. But when I begin to feel threatened by my wife having a lot of money, then I'm on the road to break down.
But Reverend, on the side it's different.
Yes, and I agree, because you could be in a marriage. You know, marriage is like an ocean. It is undetermined.
Yes.
So you start somewhere, and then after 2 years, you're somewhere. And during that period, maybe God blesses you and you're able to, grow financially. And lo and behold, you have a big problem in your home, because your husband all of a sudden would start saying you're disrespectful. He would start feeling threatened. And I know you say that it's worldviews, but in Africa, it's almost as if the woman is always lower. It's almost as if you're always just supposed to be down there.
I'm a woman. What I would add there, I've seen women change. The minute you are earning more than your husband, he comes late. Oh, warm the food in the microwave. Oh, don't bother me. She goes out. You see, we must continue to respect our men, irrespective of whether we earn more than them or not. We still have to play our role as their helper. And it's so rampant. In fact, I see that quite a lot.
It happens. Yeah. It happens, but allow me to be the devil's advocate here and say that not in all situations that the woman could be disrespectful. I think in equal measure, we would say there is women who, once they attain financial freedom, there's that head, it's like another extra head grows here. And yes, you forget your role as a helper and as a wife. And I think then it would go back to what Reverend rightfully said in the beginning, in the beginning, what was the foundation? Let us establish it as God intended for us to establish.
Yes.
But what about a situation where the husband is or has been the one who's providing? And we all know how men can be selfish and how they can mistreat women. And the statistics are there to show. And then now God helps the woman. And now the woman has attained some form of financial freedom. I think the natural reaction is for the woman to pay back, to give back this man what he was giving. And that is why marriages are in problems. Yeah.
I think there's a natural trend where you get a woman looks for someone who's always above them. They want to look up. And that brings the problem when a woman is making more money than the husband.
Power dynamics.
Because there is that issue of they're always looking up to the next level, to the next man. And there are many men at whatever level you are in. There are many men, if you look up, there is always someone up.
Yeah.
And for this context, it's important to know that, yes, there are these biblical contexts that lay the foundations of all these things. But there is what is on the ground.
True.
What is on the ground is that many people right now are not reading the Bible.
Yes.
They are not taking up these religious practices and spiritual practices. And we first have to orient them, especially in the counseling, which is a bit secular, in the counseling dynamic, to bring them slowly into these foundations so that they can get to a place where they understand that my self-esteem, my self-concept is not dependent on issues like money.
Yes.
And let me also add,
Yes.
it has been said, if we fail to plan, we plan to fail.
True.
Is there a statement like that?
Yes.
Now, what that means, in pre-marriage counseling, when you are discussing matters finance, you even look ahead and anticipate situations like what happens one day if mama is the one making more money. Those are things you should discuss. I conduct marriages, by the way, and I've done very many of them. These are some of the things I am challenging couples. Anticipate trouble even before it comes. You lay it on the ground. And even if those problems will come, you'll be better prepared than when you just wake up one day and she has more money and you had not even planned or thought about how you deal with a situation like that one. And again, education. And I want to underline and emphasize education, 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 education. We need to empower our people by educating them that in a marriage, it's not about competition. It is building together for the benefit of all of us and for posterity. But the moment I begin to think, what benefits do I get in this marriage? Then I am losing direction. That's why I want to go back. And the two shall become one. So if we think along that line, problems will come. By the way, there is no marriage that doesn't have issues.
True.
All marriages, including mine, have had their own issues. But when you have been prepared and you have been exposed to some of the things that you can do when you face these crises, you'll be better prepared. And the bottom line is that you minimize the chances of experiencing mental health problems. You minimize. Personally, I don't think one needs to get depressed because of money. Yeah? There are people that get depressed. I don't have to be depressed if my wife has a lot of money. Yeah? And even if she does not contribute that money to family, family expenses, that is still not a reason for me to be depressed, because I remain a man. And guess what? I still remain the head of my home. And the head of my home? It doesn't mean that my wife has no say or she has no... Actually, that is misinterpreted when people talk about headship.
True.
You know, the real meaning of the man being the head of the family is that originally man was supposed to ensure, just like God, the best welfare of the family.
Everybody.
Headship is not about being boss, because that's where the present world has gone wrong. It's not about being boss. It's making sure that your wife is happy, even if she's earning more money. In fact, you tell her, honey, I want to take you to the spa. I want to spend the weekend with you out there, even if she has more money with you. When that woman feels appreciated and feels, that the husband values her, you will not need to tell her to bring in the money. She will do it.
Oh, yeah.
But because we do not have this knowledge, that's why we are fighting over material things instead of building one another. Right? Even having your own account is not an issue. I have absolutely no problem where couples, everybody operates their own account. I have no problem as long as that is an understanding that both of them have, and that both of them are focusing on the well-being of the family, with the man ensuring the well-being of the wife and the children and his own well-being as it was intended.
So I would also have this in mind. This man is talking about the wife taking money. Being in the addictions field, there is a context of men falling into what, Reverend, you called caves some time back. And one of the caves is this addiction thing. And women will generally, mostly, do such things at home when someone is not well in their own mental way. So you'll find that I get cases where the wife is taking money. Yes, the wife is taking money. But the reason they're taking this money is because this guy goes out and drinks the whole night. and the lady is left without anything.
Yeah, we get quite a number of cases like that where maybe the woman will take the money because she's suspicious that she thinks the guy is having a woman, somebody outside, or the issue of addiction or whatever. So, these are hidden matters that unless you interview the people and really get the truth, you're not going to know what's the real reason. But I think it's possible to actually assist this couple.
That's right.
I agree, because marriage is actually an institution that is rooted in certain principles, like Reverend said, and communication is one of them.
Yes.
So for me, I would ask, first of all, why are you as the husband not even comfortable to face your wife and be like, honey, why did you take that money? I had this and this in mind. And also, even though as a wife, I can take to maybe cover some bases that you might have missed as a husband, I should be able, in a healthy marriage, face you and tell you I took this money to take care of the children's school fees, or even to send to my mother. For crying out loud, it's not a crime to do it. The reason why we find conflict regarding finances, and it could be both sides, both the man and the woman, is because there is no open communication. Yes. My name is Judy Fider. This was episode 2 of the NAHEDO podcast. See you next week.
Daniel Gashanja. This was episode 2 of the NAHEDO podcast. See you in episode 3.
Reverend Gregory Kevanguli. This was episode 2, and glad you were listening.
This is Dr. Margaret Makanyengo, and I'm thoroughly excited in this episode 2 of the NAHEDO podcast. See you next time in episode 3.